Saw the money and got activated. Saw the money and got activated. Saw that money and got activated. I saw that money and got activated. Canada Goose. Keep me wearing my cold city. I got a pole with me. Glock on 450.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, it's funny, I say the same thing in every video. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. Anyhow, today we are back on the first gen. And if you guys remember in the end of the last video, I told you that, well, in the video before that, I told you that we were supposed to pick up some body parts, and in the last video I told you guys I had a surprise. So I basically just like ratted myself out. Doesn't matter either way because we kind of got bonked on the whole deal. The guy didn't screw me over at all. He literally just was parting out a truck he knew nothing about, and I looked at the pictures looked fine, looked super clean. I even looked at the body panels in person, and in person at that time in that lighting, they looked like clean fenders, like I'm not gonna lie, and the door looked clean as well. And then I got back to the shop and then I started finding all the problems. So the bad news is most of the body parts we bought are probably not going to work out, but we will kind of go over what we got, the issues with them, and so on. So as you see right here, we have two fenders and a door. This is the driver fender. Now the driver fender is really clean. Like, it has some surface rust right here, which will go right away. Has a dent right here, easily fixable. And then the rest of the panel is pretty much good. There's a spot that's been repaired here, but it looks fine. Yeah, aside from all that, this fender is spotless. So this was a good score. Has an inner fender too. I know you see surface rust and you're like, oh my gosh, but I will clean this all up and primer and paint everything flat black, because that's what the engine bay is flat black. So that's nothing to worry about. Now this fender over here, it looked good in the right lighting, but I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here. Let me turn this fan off so you guys can actually hear what's in. So if you look, you can clear as day see a dent in the fender. Not sure how I missed that, but I will say in the lighting I did not see it. The only thing I saw was this tiny little pinhole of rust here, and I was like, oh, you know, that's not too bad. That I always get this like fear of I'm not going to come across this deal again, so I impulse buy, especially when it comes to body parts, and it really bites me in the ass every time. I'm not gonna lie. If there's any advice I could give to you guys, thoroughly look over every body part that you buy, and unless it's some like crazy rare part, or unless you have the ability to fix it and the know-how to fix it for sure, don't even bother. Even if you feel like it's a deal of a lifetime, just don't bother. Everyone on TikTok, because I post this on TikTok, everyone on TikTok seems to think I can just fix that dent. I haven't even messed with it. I literally brought the fenders up here, looked at them, got super mad, and left. So haven't really looked at those or looked at it yet. It looks like I could just push it out, but if it's anything like those fenders up there, I had a really hard time getting like little dents out like that. I don't know if there's something I'm doing wrong, or I don't know. Comment below if you are a body expert and know how to get that, because that dent to a body guy is probably nothing. Like, you could probably, that's probably a paintless dent repair, but to me, I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna mess with it today. But the door, boy, was I blind on the door. The door is basically not an option. I'm not gonna use this door. So for starters, you can see how wavy it is. See a dent there, and then you see all the holes that have been, I don't know if they're, what the deal is with them, but like, looks like they've been filled in with like JB Weld or something. I'm not sure, but they're all over the place. And then down here you've got a really bad creased dent. Same with right here. It's just and then on top of that, it's a manual window door, which was fine. I was gonna convert everything over because I heard that you could. I was just gonna find out for myself. But if you happen to know if you actually can't, please comment below and let me know before I waste more money on doors. The good news is, out of this whole situation is, ultimately, the passenger side door is fixable. I just didn't want to bother with it, if I'm being honest. It just has a couple dings and dents, so we might try and fix that. But the driver door, on the other hand, is not an option. 100% not going to be fixable, at least with my skill, because it's just been beaten too much from whoever tried to fix it before. But I don't want to get too off topic. The somewhat good news is I found a set of brand new doors, literally brand new, like well, they're aftermarket, I'm sure, but they're brand new flat black doors. They have a couple dings from shipping, that's why the guy wants to sell them. But they're literally bare frame doors, like they have to have everything swapped over. My only worry is I've not heard how the aftermarket doors fit, like if they have fitment issues and, you know, if they're crappy quality. So if you have experience with aftermarket doors on these Dodge pickups, please comment and let me know. The guy, I think, only wants $100 for the pair, so it might be worth just buying just to see. If not, though, I actually ended up finding a bunch of rust-free, dent-free body panels that I would have to drive out of state for, but it is an option. So although I did spend money on all this stuff and kind of got bonked, I think these two fenders will be usable. For sure the driver fender is usable. Passenger fender, not so sure on that, but we are going to attempt to use it. Super pumped that I got inner fenders though, so that's a plus. That's an easy win to look over because it's a small win. But yeah, so I guess today we are gonna mess with these new fenders a little bit, and we if you remember, we left without sanding any of this stuff down, so we're gonna work on some body work. Yeah, that's probably gonna be the majority of the video, is just kind of more body work, more fun body work and sanding and fun, and body work and sanding and fun. And at some point we got to primer the roof, which isn't really high on the priority list at the very moment. So enough with talking. I'm gonna kind of look over this fender and see what I can work some magic on. Okay, so we tried kind of hitting the dent out with, oh, there's another dent right there, I didn't even see it. We kind of tried hitting the dent out with a hammer, but it, like I said, you push it out and it just pops right back out. So we're gonna try the old dent puller with the hot glue. I've showed it in a video before, but basically you put glue on this, you stick it to the panel, and then you tighten these down to basically pull the dent out. It worked on the BMW. We mostly just want to get the dent most of the way out, and then we can, if it's uneven, we can fill in the rest. But with the way the dent is right now, I don't think we could fill it properly and it like not take a bunch of Bondo. I'm also seeing a little ding right there, but yeah, so we're gonna try that real quick. Is that good, Cash? Yeah? Alright guys, so as you saw from the last clip, we were trying to get this dent out with that. It's definitely better, but it's definitely not out all the way. I did find another dent down here. If you see it, you can kind of see it right there. And then there is another dent right here, which that one might be kind of tricky to get out because it creased the front portion of the fender there. But so I did make the executive decision that we're gonna run that fender. We're gonna run this fender. What I've decided is the worst thing that can happen is we put these fenders on the truck, we try to fix them, we waste a little bit of labor. Hang on, there's something on the screen. We waste a little bit of labor, maybe a little bit of time, and let's say we can't get them fixed, we buy new fenders. It's not the end of the world. The way I'm looking at it is, if I tackle this project, I have an opportunity to learn. And I feel like this is a good way to learn, something that's, you know, not so inexpensive. But I was watching like some PDR videos, which is paintless dent repair, and it's so fascinating how they know like where to tap to get relief points and a sheet of metal and stuff. It's really crazy. So I think I might order some PDR tools and kind of practice on this fender and stuff, because I do have some small dings in the BMW that need to be fixed. So maybe I'll order some PDR tools. But aside from that, I think we're just gonna send it. We're gonna run these fenders, and the worst, like I said, the worst thing that can happen is we gotta buy different fenders, which if we don't run these fenders, we have to do anyways. So we are gonna, I think, get these fenders bolted on, like officially bolted on, and then start the body work on them, because I want to have them like securely mounted and they're not rolling around and stuff. But before we can do that, we have to clean up the insides of the fenders, wire wheel everything down, primer, and paint everything, so that way we don't have to worry about that. And then we got to do the fender wells as well, which we could probably do that once it's on the truck. So I think we're gonna work on that here in a second, and then obviously we've got some sanding to do. But yeah, so okay, so we got the fender pretty much cleaned up. We just have to wipe it down before we can primer anything. But before we primer stuff, I want to weld the body holes closed. So there are these three, and then there's one back here, but that gets covered by the badge and you can't get to the back side of it, so I may or may not weld it closed. Okay, so I didn't really film it because we've done it before, but here it is, guys. As you can tell, the holes are filled. Obviously filler's gonna have to be put over them, like a small, like thin layer, and fade all this back in. And yeah, now we're gonna throw some seam sealer on the back side of the welds so that I don't have to ever worry about moisture penetration or anything like that. So we're gonna clean up around those welds in the back, throw some seam sealer on that, and then we can go ahead and start primering and painting the inside of this fender. Got seam sealer on those, got some seam sealer down there. We're gonna wipe down the fender, and then we're gonna start laying some primer. We got majority of the fender painted. Looks 1,000 times better, but we'll have to pick up some more paint tomorrow to do the inners and put obviously more layers of paint on. We primered over the bare metal and stuff, and yeah, so obviously I can't put the fender on yet. Even if I did paint everything, I wouldn't put it on tonight because I want to let everything cure. I'm even thinking about maybe trying to get some black vinyl and wrapping this like arch right here where all the wiring goes, because The problem with this was all the wiring sits on top of this fender well, and it just scratches the crap out of it, and it just destroys the paint. So I figured maybe I have some black vinyl at the house. Maybe I'll lay some black vinyl over that right there. And although it might look a little tacky, it'll protect it and prevent it from looking tacky in the future. So yeah, I think that's it for right now. And then obviously once we mount the fenders on the truck, we're gonna do the fender wells. Except for I want to line axe those or bed line them or whatever. But yeah, took the Cohen's badge off this fender to kind of see where the holes are gonna line up on that. So okay guys, so we forgot to get black paint, which is annoying, but I guess we can still throw this in and then paint the backside of that once we get some black paint. But I do want to try and wrap this, or at least attempt to. Even if it doesn't turn out good, we can always peel it off. Well, we got the fender on. Look at that body line. The only part that I don't really like is up here where it's kind of not the best, but I think you can put like body spacers here to kind of help that gap. Really, it looks like it needs to come up about an 1/8 to a 1/16 inch to really match up with the body panel or body line here, but it's not enough to really annoy you. This body gap is nice and where it's supposed to be. Actually, it looks a little larger up top, but it can be adjusted. I'm kind of digging this look right here, this fender. We should just do the rest of the truck like that. I'm just kidding. But yeah, all the bolts are in. The fender's nice and tight. It's weird seeing like a completely intact and not bent up fender liner in there. Like, that's kind of weird. But looking at it, I'm gonna guess that there's almost no way that these tires don't rub. But like I said before, I'm gonna see how bad they rub, see what the turning radius is like, and then if the turning radius is about the same as it was with the old fender and it was lowered, I'm gonna put steering stops on the control arm so that the tires don't hit the fenders, and that way I won't have the best turning radius, but the truck won't, because these fenders will get destroyed in a heartbeat. Like, all it takes is me to crank this wheel one time, it'll crunch that fender like it's a pop can. Ask me how I know. That looks sick. I'm really upset though, because this right here, this dent, that was not there before. The fender slid over and kind of like fell on its side, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, it's fine. No, it dinged right there. And I just noticed there's a dent right here too. Oh, it's so annoying. Well, I guess there's not a lot we can really do about it, but fix it. So this fender is obviously the cleaner fender, but man, am I pumped up about this fender being on here. And then obviously with, you know, the nice painted inside, it looks good. And then I put that vinyl piece on there, like I said, looks like it's peeling up on the edges a little bit, which doesn't surprise me because I didn't really apply it with like no dirt on my hands or anything like that. All right, sick. So we're gonna clean up this fender, get it painted, and hopefully get it tossed on today. Okay guys, so we got the front end back together. Got this fender on. The fitment on this fender is pretty out of whack. Like if you look here, and then if you look at the body line here, it gets really tight towards the bottom. That's something that we'll probably have to try to kind of work out as we go. I got it as good as I honestly could for the time being. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm not building a show truck by any means. That's not what this truck is meant to be. This truck is meant to be just a little bit nicer than what it was. Not so half-assed, but not so nice that I'm not afraid to use it and beat on it and all that stuff. So here, obviously there's the bigger dent right here, dent right there, and I think that's it on this panel. Which honestly, the biggest concern is going to be this dent right here, but I can't even see it right now. Like, I think it honestly popped out. Like, I'm looking at it right now and I honestly think it... Guys, I've got some amazing news. This might be the best thing that has happened out. Putting this thing together, this might have been the best thing that has happened so far. That dent popped out. It is no longer there. It is gone. There is a high spot right here, like a small little high spot, but it's fixable. But the dent is gone, guys. So far, this fender went from the worst fender to possibly the best fender as far as being clean compared to that side, because this side only has this dent and a dent right here, I think it was. But this side's got like oh, there's a ding right there I didn't notice. It's got a dent here. It's got all this stuff I gotta fill in. A dent here, a dent here, and I think that's it. So I guess they're both equally like needing body work. But the biggest thing, guys, that I want to check and see is to see how bad the truck rubs, because I don't want to do a bunch of body work and then have to like cut the fenders or something. I like right now, like without checking first, in my opinion, cutting these fenders is not an option. So I don't know how bad the turning radius will be with the fenders the way they are, and then like putting steering stops in. It looks like I have a decent turning radius, but if I cut these fenders, they lose all their structural integrity. So basically when you cut them, they get all floppy and then they dent really easy. Like this rolled lip in this fender right here, that holds a lot of that strength. Once you cut that, they just get real wavy and they just don't look good anymore. And the whole point, basically the entire reason I tore this truck down was because I hated how cut the front fenders were, how destroyed they were, how warped and floppy they were. And the sole reason all that started was because I cut the fenders. Now granted, the tire got jammed into the fenders quite a few times. And there is options, like you can cut the fenders and then roll a new lip on them and everything, but I really am hoping I don't have to cut the fenders. So yeah, that's something I would like to try like within the next day or so. Okay guys, so I think that's gonna wrap up this video. I know there wasn't a lot in it, but it was a long one. In the next video we'll be making more progress, and I guess you'll have to watch it to find out. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.